be quite a fast-paced session. We call it Debate and Vote. And we're talking about the future. The future is the future digital? Is it virtual? And I would like you to participate. Take out those devices that you put on to vibrate early on. Christian knows the drill already. You go to a website called menti.com, not mental, but menti, M-E-N-T-I. menti.com. Helps to be able to spell. And you put in a code. And the code number is 89416737. 89416737. And you should have something that looks like this. It's got the 196+4. Are you all on? Because it's important to have you all in here, because you want to participate. So we now got the very first question, which is a very important one, because it's a bit of a survey. It's a bit of a, how do you feel? And the very first one is important. So please answer that one. It's a neck on neck. Not really. Poor cats. 64, 70. Come on. Jeff, I'm picking on you. Have you already decided? Because I know you're a dog person. You're on. Cool, so you get the gist, do you? Because now I've got the real pleasure to invite two gentlemen who will join me after I read out a little bit about them. I prepared last night, I prepared a whole long list, and then I was told, no, you don't read out the CV. I said, okay, fine, then I won't. But I'd still want to introduce Dr. 𝘂𝗶𝗹𝗺, who is the co-founder of and MD of 𝐴𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼, a radically tech-driven hospitality concept. He is responsible for 𝐴𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼's corporate strategy, the hospitality product, international expansion, as well as marketing and operations. Let's welcome Dr. 𝘂𝗶𝗹𝗺. And while Joseph makes his way up here, I'd like to introduce 𝗁𝗂𝗋𝗋. And Doc has been swimming against most aspects of the digital revolution, which all too often neglects the existence of our 5 senses. And Doc will explain to us in a minute why 5. Way back in 2008, Doc founded the 𝗹𝗶𝗇 project. He was rescuing the last Polaroid factory in the Netherlands to bring back those iconic Polaroid photos. The documentary of the same name is highly recommended and to be found on Amazon Prime, amongst others. With SuperSense, he continues his mission to prevent the demise of carefully selected analog technologies. Doc, where are you? There. These two gentlemen will debate 3 minutes each about the future being digital. Now, what is digital? Digital describes electronic technology that generates, stores, and processes data in terms of 2 states, positive and non-positive. I like that as opposed to negative. Positive is expressed or represented by the number 1, and non-positive by the number 0. Means absolutely bugger all to me. But they will talk about it. They will tell us how this works. But before they do, I want to know from you. Do you feel that the future is digital? I went to buy this suit the other day and slipped into one that's bought by a French PC, it's the initials where, and it says, the future is now. So is it now? Is it digital? Is it, we'll figure out. So a lot of it, no, you stay. You got to make your case.
You only can win now, right?
You will win. You will win. The 𝗹𝗶𝗇 project, you know how that works with the 𝗹𝗶𝗇 project. I mean, there's a slight, yeah. Well, I don't think you need to make a case anymore, Joseph.
No, it's going to be tough to convince even more people now.
3 minutes start now.
All right, it's a pleasure to be here. My pitch is pro the digital future. I believe hospitality has always been a people business, and it always will be a people business, same as hotels are a real estate play. But the future is still digital. Why? Because if it's done right, it is able to both mitigate the current challenges we have as an industry, but it's also able to elevate what we're already strong at. So what are we facing at the moment? We're definitely facing shortages of qualified employees. We see heavily increasing operating costs, and we also see fluctuating demand as it has never been before. On the other hand, we have a great product. We have great properties, great design, in great locations, and we're also known for a great service, great convenience, and also a seamless travel experience. So how is digitization now helping us in both reducing our challenges and elevating our strength? Digitization in its pure use is able to automate processes and to reduce human errors. And actually in hotels, most of the processes are very repetitive, both customer-facing or guest-facing, but also in the back end when it comes, for instance, to check-in processes, when it comes to invoicing, but also when it comes to distribution or pricing. And digitization is able to automate this, basically allowing us to manage these processes at zero costs without any errors. On the other hand, the digitization of systems allows us to become much more flexible and agile. For instance, it's way easier to change one algorithm in a system than teaching 100 people in hotels how to change room allocations, how to change upgrade mechanisms, for instance. So it makes us much more flexible to the demand changes we're seeing at the moment. On the other hand, when it comes to our strength, experience is incredibly important in this industry. Digital solutions and the power to process data allows us to learn much faster. For instance, we're able to assess locations entirely remotely. We are able to even measure the success of designs by A/B testing of photos, how many people click on them. And we're also able to change prices in very short time. For instance, we are changing 10 million price points per day. Digital solutions are also much more convenient for the guest, being able to manage the entire guest stay remotely through their mobile phone. And last but not least, also services can be elevated. It's not necessary for hotels to operate all services themselves. We can easily integrate specialists from all over the city.
Thank you, Josef. Well done.
Thank you.
Good
luck.
It's ganz einfach.
Yes.
Just be yourself and those bars will flip.
I thought it's going to be super easy.
It will be super easy, and the time starts now.
Is it a digital clock or is it?
No, it's analog.
Okay, good.
There's somebody flipping those over there.
So I thought it's going to be super easy, so I'm not really prepared because I thought, it's even a ridiculous question. And I was convinced that I'm right looking at you because out there nobody licked at USB sticks, but we all had our coffee and we all had a piss in a real toilet. And even this voting system, why not just raise the hands other than to go to an app, have a QR code, put in a code? I think the ridiculous thing is digital is washing our brains, and we voluntarily get everything, even our private data, into the hands of 3 or 4 big companies. And so I just prepared basically one sentence, and I think you mentioned it. I think not only hospitality, but everything in our life is about falling in love. So you said you fell in love with that city, and there is a very boring fact that digital will never take away from us. It's the fact that we need our 5 senses to fall in love. We need all of our 5 senses. So maybe you have forgotten, but it's not just watching on a screen and hearing a sound. It also includes smelling, tasting, and licking on things. This is what makes us human beings. And these 5 senses are the only reason we even sit here. By the way, why are you sitting here? You could easily stream all of this online, in your pajamas on your sofa. So I'm a little surprised you're still here, especially after this voting. Anyhow, we need our 5 senses to fall in love. We need, and this is the good message for you, we need real spaces to fall in love. So, don't be afraid of digital and the metaverse taking away your hotel rooms and all your business. So I think you should be afraid of digital a little bit, maybe, but good news, we are human beings. We need our 5 senses, and this is also the biggest chance to make the people fall in love again, but only if we really have something to offer. That's the bad news. If you have stinking rooms, it's a problem. Because online it looks good, in reality it can really, not create customers but friends. So forget about the digital, use it. Yes, you can easily connect people, but start rediscovering that you're human. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. And with 17 seconds to spare, he says that's all what I've got to say. That shows how analog he is. We're now supposed to have a really engaging discussion. And I think I need your help with that a little bit, because are they really opposed to one another? I mean, when I listened to Joseph, he said that he wants to facilitate certain things that then the analogs can deliver on. So is that a contradiction or not? I don't think so. I don't know. But is there anybody in the audience that would like to ask a question to get the discussion going? Because I would throw this thing at you. Are you scared? Christian, come on.
No, I mean, I would really be interested in, of course, you had to make your stance, you had to make your position in the beginning, but Joseph, I would really like you to comment on what Doc just said. Don't you see that there is at least some truth in it, and that there
it's fine if you just give up, you don't have, it's fine, it's easy.
No, I mean, so for me the answer is the future is hybrid, the future is both, the future will be digital, but the future will hopefully also remain analog.
What does it even mean, the future will be digital? Can somebody explain to me what this should mean?
I might give it a try. So I think our product, the hotel stay, it's a real one. And I think life is real. And we all don't want to go to the metaverse to spend our vacation there, at least myself. So I fully agree that there needs to be a real experience. But I don't believe it's a contradiction, because in the end, using the power of digitization allows us to elevate the real experience. And just maybe giving one example, if we're able to automate all these repetitive processes, we can use the people we still can use, and which are still available in terms of qualified employees, for what really matters to the guests. We can use them to serve them, to help them, to tell them what's great. We don't want to use our qualified employees in just filling out check-in sheets, printing invoices. So there's a lot of power in digitization actually to improve the physical experience. And I fully believe that this is key.
So you think it's better if I come to a hotel instead of somebody shaking my hand and taking my, it's better a machine to put in my online registration QR code and pointing me a chip card?
I think having the option is great. If you can do it remotely with your phone if you want to, it's great. And if you can basically use the person at the reception just to talk to the guests, to help them.
To explain how you put the card into the slot.
No, I mean, maybe given one example there, with our approach, basically our guests check in upfront. In most of the cases, and already as of today 75% of all bookings are handled fully automatically. This is of course we're not a full or high service provider, that's for sure, but the guests are willing to do it, and for most of the guests this is actually convenient. I mean, everyone is used to apps. All of us had to download a Corona app, so we know how it works. We got used to it, and having the option and offering our guests this convenient solution actually helps.
To be clear, and it's just fun, of course, I believe in many advantages of the digital, and I think, but what is my main message? We should start from us being humans, and to look for combinations of analog and digital and interfaces, and they need to be more brilliant than what is going on now. And we're also learning the disadvantages of digital. But what my problem is that we suddenly try to have the tendency to forget about all these things that always have been the driving factor in human interaction and getting goosebumps and stuff. I don't get goosebumps digitally. Sex online and in real is still feels different to me. So, and I don't know. I'm not asking you what is your case, but
I have to admit I haven't tried it yet. But
the real thing? You haven't tried the real thing? Can somebody help him out? He's good looking. There must be a way to give him a real experience.
I don't have kids yet, so I can't prove the point.
That's part of the problem, digital.
No, I think maybe one more point. I think there is a difference between virtual reality and digitization. I'm not a big fan of the metaverse and virtual reality, so this is not where I would like to spend my time because it's really limited. But I believe that digital solutions can help us to make the best of our real time.
So you tried to 3D print your kid? You tried to 3D print your kid? A little small? Okay.
Guys, this was amazing. I enjoyed it.
No. It's not yet amazing. We're gonna see if it's amazing, because we make a revote, right?
Maybe what?
Another voting?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course, we want to see whether they
so
whether
this
they
will be
change
the
their mind.
decision if it's amazing.
But thank you, first of all. Thank you for your input. Thank you for your debate. It really started to get hot. It got hot in many senses and in many ways. So well done to that one. But it also showed that there is case for everything. There's a case for, cancel this alarm, please. There's a case for the digital alarm, and there's a case for the other one. And I think they can coexist. And I think that's what you both, in a way, showed, that we will create a bit more time for the real hospitality. We saw yesterday something, and I hope the person who introduced that robot yesterday or last night is not in the room. Maybe he or she is. But I got negative goosebumps because I don't think that we should employ robots. I'm sorry. It's just a very personal thing. And actually make space with machine learning or whatever so that real people can look after real people. And there was a thing which I saw on the internet the other day where somebody says, one size fits one. And I like that one a lot. So it's not a one size fits all, but a one size fits one. We want to see whether you have changed your mind, ladies and gentlemen. So if you please go back to your app. Yeah, because I can't count that fast. You see, Doc, that's the thing. I need that digital help. That's what it is. It's a digital Krückstock. Doc, look at this. Whoa. Come on. You just need to flip from Outlook back into the website, and then you can vote. But that is actually amazing. Doc, you have made an amazing case. It is amazing. Danke. And now we have another one of those, because you now know how it works. And I would like to welcome Anne Seubert. Anne is the founder and executive director of Brands and Places. And that rings to when you were talking about placemaking. And she very much is in your space, in your think tank space, because she runs a think tank dedicated to increase impact and redesign roles, products, and stakeholder dialogue. She's a keynote speaker, university lecturer, facilitator, startup mentor, co-founder of the Rotary Berlin Global E-Club. E. Is that digital, Doc? Never mind. And she's on the Green Tourism Board for Sustainable Tourism and always ready to learn, share, and immerse. Welcome, Anne. And Anne is joined by Roman Scharf, and Roman was once a 16-year-old coder from Salzburg. And since then, he's been really living his dream. He decided to share his experience and create bigger impact by doing so, and that led to the creation of 𝗃VC, the company which he founded and is a partner in. We don't know all the answers, he says, but we know people who do. We want founders to feel they're not alone. Welcome, Roman. Those two will now discuss whether the future is virtual. And virtual is existing, seen, or happening online, or on a computer screen, rather than in person or in the physical world. When I connected with those two via Teams, I said, is this now a virtual, a digital, or what is it? And I'm confused with all this, but they will enlighten us. And Roman is the one who says it is virtual, and he's got 3 minutes to tell us why.
Well, thanks for inviting me here. I think I have some sort of hot seat here. I'm not here to explain that we will have vacation in the future in a virtual reality. I don't believe in that myself. I don't think we're going to go and spend our time in a hotel in the metaverse. But it is a fact that virtual realities and virtual ways of experiencing things is on a strong growth path. So we met virtually, right? So we prepared for this meeting virtually. I think everybody in the room has had virtual meetings. Corona and the COVID situation gave this whole idea of meeting virtual a complete turbo boost. The idea that you can do things in a way that doesn't require physical interaction anymore, I think is a value add. I don't think it replaces human interactions. So if you don't ever meet someone in person, you can never create the same sort of relationship, obviously, by only meeting virtual. But in work life, when you meet virtually every now and then, you get work done. And for the relationship, you meet for dinner in between. This whole virtual reality thing is a broad front. It's not only where gamers spend days in virtual lands and they hunt virtual demons and they use virtual weapons, which I think which is still the place where it kind of started, where 5 or 6 or 7-year-olds dream up their own towns and buildings in Minecraft, and where their imagination really has no limits. My daughter, when she was 8 years old, had already 3 worlds in Minecraft, and it was absolutely mind-boggling to see what she thought up. I mean, it's really dreaming up something from nothing in a way that wasn't possible before. We see doctors, we have the situation in medicine where you can train to be a surgeon in a virtual body. We test medicine in a virtual environment, so not to test it on humans or animals. We have virtual superstars now. We have ABBA on stage in London, and they're not even there. I've seen it. I don't know who's seen it, but it's quite spectacular. So, and the story continues, and I'm not even there with metaverse and all that because I don't think it's that important. I think the other experiences are more important. You can visit a hotel virtually before you book it. You can visit a real estate property before you go on a plane to New York and see it in person. So virtual reality is an enhancement of what the digital world offers, and I think it makes things easier and better in many ways, and it's part of our future.
Roman, right on the dot. And I didn't virtually, I really forgot to ask you to vote, but you hopefully saw my very subtle gesture and you voted anyway. Can we get the voting screen on the screen? Can we? Lots of hearts coming up there. Let me see whether, sorry, back. No, we haven't changed minds yet. We are still, nah, there it is. Okay. I would have been worried had it been the other way around, because that would have given Roman an amazing advantage. But
I like the two options. Yes, it's virtual, and no, it's virtual.
You saw it. You saw it. Because I told you she's a keynote speaker, and I wanted to find out whether she actually sees it. Yes, she has seen it. So, Anne, no, it's not. It says it on there. Why is it not?
Of course it's not. I mean, I think I have you all behind me. And yes, Roman made a good point, and we heard this from Joseph and already. Industries across the world are adapting to VR technologies and trying to make use of them. And I think there are tons of opportunities for the hospitality sphere as well. But as a cultural scientist, I'd like to make three points here that are most important for me. First of all, while the metaverses and the VR rooms are offering us spaces to platforms, tools and tokens actually to boost revenue and sales and enhance our guest experiences, as you mentioned, and connect us to new target groups, maybe virtual tourists. I think hospitality offers safe spaces as a service, places to be discovered, places to go to, places to talk about, places to return to. Shelter when on the road, as we just heard from Michael. And as human beings, we need to know where we are. We need to know where we're going, where we're from. And we need to dock and love places to orient ourselves in the world. Second, these virtual worlds are what we make out of them right now and in the future. And we have to take good care that they don't leave us exhausted, our society and environment cluttered, our brains devastated, while hospitality offers spaces to recharge, to be inspired, to offer wellness and relaxation, inspiration. And I think people are looking for sustainably designed spaces right now where they find a good night of sleep, support for their overall wellness, and flexibility in their workplace environments, as we just learned. They want to choose where to be. And third, while the metaverse is about data and structured data, hospitality is about people, it's about connection, it's about curiosity. And I would love us, all of us, we are here to be the ambassadors for a future that is the age of hospitality. I think that's the real future. Hospitality is the key here, and it's not virtuality. So please take the chance here to connect with the people around you and spread the word about this art of hospitality. Connect and go places. We heard there are 196 plus of them. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anne. Now, again, there's a challenge to now get those two interacting with one another and arguing, and Roman looks at me a little bit doubtful. Does he want to argue with Anne? Does he not want to argue with Anne? Maybe I can throw it back at the audience, if that's okay.
Maybe, can I ask a question?
Yes.
I wanted to ask up front, like, who of you has been to these so-called metaverses one way or another, just to what we're talking about?
And how was it?
Who's been on a Zoom call? Who's been on a Teams call? Who's been on a Skype call? Who's been on a FaceTime call? That's virtual.
Here we're going. I think we're not aware of how...
Look, the hospitality industry is probably the most resilient to virtual experiences because you're right. I mean, if I want to go to a hotel in the real world, I want to eat real food, meet real people, swim in the real ocean. I don't want to do this in Sandbox or Decentraland or one of these weird virtual realities. But virtual reality for me is not, that's what I said in the beginning, it's not about this whole metaverse thing. It's incredibly hyped. And we as software investors, we stay away from it as much as we can because it's a hype. But virtuality means new experiences, how digital became different. You know, initially, there was this nice quote up here about zeros and one. I wrote code in 1986 when there was still assembler, which basically was zeros and ones, right? You had lines of zeros and ones, and then the computer did something from it. It was, and then computer languages started and so on. And now we have this. We can, when I travel, I can meet my daughter on a computer screen on FaceTime, And it's incredibly enriching people's lives that they can do these FaceTime calls when they're traveling. And for me, these virtual experiences are part of the future. They're not replacing hotels. They're not replacing restaurants. And they will never replace all the things that Doc mentioned that make us humans human. But they make our lives in many ways better, easier, more efficient, and they open a new dimension that is useful. And better devices will also come. So virtual reality is now a little bit of a weird thing where some people have goggles in their faces and then they get completely lost in the real world where they are. That's clumsy beginnings of something. That's why I like to use FaceTime and Zoom as examples. Yeah. And we can see in Industry 4.0, we can see companies that were people in Germany who built machines for New Zealand. They don't fly to New Zealand anymore to repair the machine. They repair the machine in a virtual environment. That's great. They save the fuel cost. They save a lot of time. It costs way less money for the company. And it will have an increasing place in the future that things like that happen virtually.
Yeah, I think we often look at the negatives and at the extremes, and look at people who are getting sucked into something. And you know, we all heard about the kids, and not only kids, also adults that spend all their time in this virtual world and are completely removed. But thank goodness, I think there are definitely the minority. And I personally look at it, and I've got 2 daughters who live far, far away from Cape Town, where I live, and to see them on FaceTime and WhatsApp or whatever is certainly enriching. And I think it's a facilitator to make sure that I can visit something that I can afterwards, or want to really experience in real life. Any comments or questions from the audience? Yes. I can't throw that far. I'll give it to you that way. There we go. Oops. Glad you don't play rugby for South Africa.
I have a question. Don't you think that there are millions of people who cannot afford, let's say, a vacation traveling to Europe or to Asia and so on, and that there is a segment for which virtual reality or having a special experience in a digital or in a virtual way might be a business opportunity?
Anna, I think maybe for you. Is it a question to Anna or to Roman?
I just want to have an answer.
I know software people are thinking about this. I'm not, as you all can see, I'm not from the hospitality industry. I don't know how hospitality thinks about this. But software people are thinking about, so why don't we allow people all over the world to walk through the Louvre when they cannot come? And I can see the merit in this, for example, very much in the educational space. To take young kids that are now being told about the Louvre in a textbook, to walk them through a tour on a bigger screen in their classroom. I think that's fantastic.
I mean, there's maybe a question we could ask Sophia, if she's in the audience. We've got 1 minute, and I can maybe rush with the microphone to Sophia, because we're talking about...
We spoke yesterday at another event with Sophia about a Finnish museum that rebuilt a 19th century pavilion that they had at a World Expo in a virtual reality now. So people can visit this thing that doesn't exist anymore. And it existed in the 19th century. It was full of male people's art, or male artists, and now they put female artists into it as well. And outside the virtual realm, this wouldn't be possible. So I don't think this is an either-or question. Is the future virtual or digital or analog?
And then you got augmented reality as well, don't you? Where you can look at something.
Yeah, this is the next thing. So between virtual reality and reality, there's 98 degrees of separation.
But we've got an expert in the room.
For museums, it allows to personalize experiences. And for me, when you go to a museum, you have to have an emotional touch point to that. You need to see a personal introduction. You need to have your own guide in the museum in order that you can understand art or science or interpret it. So for me, the introduction of these technologies and adoption of these technologies in a smart way allows to personalize experiences and to bring more people to the museum, even though those that probably in the audience, when you have been last time to the museum a year ago or a couple of months ago, it would allow you with an entry point and with a personal introduction.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. I say thank you to Roman, I say thank you to Anne. This discussion continues, maybe in the break that's coming up in a minute. But certainly, I believe there is a facilitation role that virtuality can play for us to enhance some of the experiences and to encourage those experiences, those real experiences to take place when we can sense them with our 5 senses. Thank you very much to the two of you. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The audience ran ahead, which is fantastic. I like a cooperative audience, and already started voting to see whether you did change your mind. Let's have a quick look back what that was before. No, we're still kind of real. There we go. And in an era where digital or virtual is the default, the actual coming together into a physical space has to be an experience that you don't want to miss. This is why we're here, isn't it? Because we've done all, as Roman says, the Zoom calls and everything else, and I think they're great for a quick catch-up. But to look somebody in the eye and to shake a hand, like we did just now when we first met for the first time, the next time we can have a virtual call, perfect. But we at least looked each other in the eye, and I think that's what it's all about. So again, thank you very much to you as the audience who collaborated so nicely, and to the speakers that we had.